He is sitting very straight in his chair now, his hands clasped tightly in front of him. His face was bright, his eyes round and bright as two stars. "Such wonderful and terrible sounds I is hearing," he said. "Some of them you would never wish to be hearing yourself, but some is like glorious music." He seemed almost to be transfigured by the excitement of his thoughts. His face was beautiful in its blaze of emotions. "Tell me some more about them," Sophie said quietly. "You just ought to be hearing the little mices talking," he said. "Little mices is always talking to each other, and I is hearing them as loud as my own voice." "What do they say?" Sophie asked. "Only the mices know that. Spiders is also talking a great deal. You might not be thinking it, but spiders is the most tremendous natterboxes. And when they is spinning their webs, they is singing all the time. They is singing sweeter than a nightingale." "Who else do you hear?" Sophie asked. "One of the biggest chat bags is the cattle piddlers," the BFG said. "What do they say?" "They is arguing all the time about who is going to be the prettiest butterfly. But that is all they is ever talking about." "Is there a dream floating around in here now?" Sophie asked. The BFG moved his great ears this way and that, listening intently. He shook his head. "There's no dream in here," he said, "except in the bottles. I has a special place to go for catching dreams. They is not often coming to giant country." "How do you catch them?" "The same way you catch buttery flies," the BFG answered, "with a net." He stood up and crossed over to a corner of the cave where a pole was leaning against the wall. The pole was about 30 feet long, and there was a net at the end of it. "Here is the dream catcher," he said, grasping the pole in one hand. "Every morning I is going out and snitching new dreams to put in my bottles." Suddenly he seemed to lose interest in the conversation. "I is getting hungry," he said. "It is time for eats."